Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Such a pleasure to speak to both of you today. Maybe you could just give a brief introduction to this incredible next season of You. It's a bit of a shift in location and kind of the format that fans might be used to. So maybe you can say a little bit about where we find Joe and also a bit about your characters. I don't know who wants to start.
Should I go first? Okay. So yes, Joe has found himself in London, which I think is a pretty good location for this season, because Joe is normally quite the other to his social group. He always finds himself kind of as an outsider anyway, but now there may not be a language difference, but there's definitely a cultural difference, sure. And class difference and all stuff like that. So that's going to be a really fun and interesting dynamic to explore this season. And yes, and I play Lady Phoebe, and she is kind of like Paris Hilton of the UK. She's got a lot of money, but no one really knows why, just a lot of old money, and loves to go out and have a good time. But she's not, that doesn't make her a bad person.
No.
Yeah.
And I play Kate, and I'm Charlotte. Did you say your real name? No, just...
No, I don't.
No, don't need to, because it might...
You don't need to know
might
that.
say underneath.
Yeah.
I play Kate, and she's best friends with Phoebe. They're part of a sort of young socialite group. And Kate is almost like the sort of opposite to Phoebe. She's icy and not very friendly, and definitely sort of not carefree, and
works very hard.
And works very hard, for sure. But has got a lot of cash in the bank, so she's okay.
She's all right.
And yeah, so they're part of a big friendship group that Joe finds himself, despite himself, in mingling in. But also Kate is Joe's neighbour, which is never a good place to live. You don't want to live next door to that guy.
His neighbour that forgets to pull the curtains.
Yeah, she's all these people. She's got to get them installed. They are there.
She's got to get in their habit.
Yeah. No, she likes it.
And I love the fact that, not only is, he thrown kind of a fish out of water in the sort of the British social scene, but, it's really played up in the humour as well, and there's kind of a dark humour a lot of times, but quite irreverent. Was it quite fun kind of as the British cast to lean into that and those differences? And were there any moments that stood out and set that were quite fun?
Yeah, well, I think Tilly's character Phoebe probably brings the most humour, and the couple actually. I feel like that group, that sort of social group, it's really funny. Some of the one-liners are unbelievable from the cast.
They're very good at getting away with being awful.
Yeah.
And it's kind of heightened as well because we're watching it through Joe's lens. So
totally.
It's even worse because we're watching it through a lens of complete judgment.
Yeah. For me, one of my favourite bits is a moment where Phoebe's staging something, and the person that's introducing her in this sort of dramatic moment isn't getting it right, and she's like, no, that's not. And she sort of parrots what you're supposed to say, and that was really perfect. And there's some real it needs it. Otherwise, it's just sort of relentlessly the show gets so dark and can be so horrific in some moments that it when you get these moments of levity and humour, you're like, yes, and it makes it all kind of sparkle along a bit more. I think.
Yeah.
And what was it like working with Penn? Because he just seems to take this character, and I don't know if anyone else could play it. It's just constantly treading this line between, obviously we know all the darker elements of his character, but he's always got this sort of charm and allure at the same time. So what was it like working with him and seeing his character develop in this season?
I mean, Penn is lovely, really lovely. Just a very, very nice person to work with. Doesn't have a lot of lines, you'll actually notice.
Yes. He's the silent partner in most of the scenes. Well, but obviously a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot going on
acting very well, but not a lot of dialogue, all in his thoughts, really.
He's very present as well. He's really, I think the thing that makes his character, the way he plays it, firstly, he's really sympathetic, right? Because the voiceover is so sort of funny, and his observations are so yes. But also when you're with him, he's really present. He really plays it in the moment, and I think he said before that he plays Joe as really meaning everything he's doing. So I think you just get caught up in it. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's
a bloody good actor.
Yeah, that you should get on it.
They should put him on those shows. I think that's a big part of it. You go along with him because you believe him.
Yeah, exactly.
And
he's very charming.
And he's charming.
Yeah.
And what do you think it is about this show that has had such longevity? And I love the fact that, and especially in this season, it's kind of like this whodunit. It's almost an Agatha Christie kind of murder mystery. And it's sort of hitting on lots of things that are so relevant, kind of the millennial versus Gen Z thing, about a lot about social class, a lot about inequality, it's really kind of picking up lots of things that are relevant to today. So, what do you think makes it stand out as a show?
Well, I think that it's really important that when you get to season 4 of a show, it's good to kind of not reinvent the wheel as such, but there can be quite a formula, and I think it's quite nice that we're playing up on it. And also now we're so familiar with kind of Jo's observations and Jo's judgment that now it's kind of a good opportunity to really heighten that and poke fun at, and kind of poke fun and also shine a light on kind of, I don't want to get too political, but like how he interacts with different classes and the judgment. Definitely. But obviously it's all like entertainment purposes at the same time. Yeah,
totally. And I think it's the fact that it manages to exactly that, cover all of those topics whilst also being ultimately kind of entertaining and it manages to be all the things that it's also sending up. It's strange. It's like a complete, like you're leaning
in the romance.
Into, like you're leaning into all the things that it's also sending up at the same time. It's like, it's a real, you're constantly kind of second guessing yourself and the show and its own reference. Like even when it refers to itself, when I think Penn says, "Oh no, I'm in the lowest form of literature. I'm in a whodunit." You're like, huh? This is what we're watching. Yeah, it sort of covers all of its own tracks, I guess. Yeah,
100%. Well, I'm out of time, but thank you so much for sharing all that with me. Can't wait for everyone else to get stuck into season 4 of You. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.